Students, in this lecture, we will discuss about important function of micronutrients. There are 17 essential nutrients and categorized in two parts, macronutrients and micronutrients. In this lecture, we will discuss the important and major function of micronutrients. Micronutrients are Fe, Cu, Mn, Zn, boron, molybdenum, chlorine and nickel. So, we will discuss one by one. So, first micronutrient is iron, and this iron act as a activator for chlorophyll formation. So, chlorophyll contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and magnesium, and iron is not part of chlorophyll molecule, but it act as a activator and involved in enzyme activation, and these enzymes are involved in chlorophyll. So, this is the reason when there is iron deficiency, then there is loss of chlorophyll and chlorosis occurs. So, this is important role in chlorophyll formation. Another important role is that this iron is involved in enzymatic activity of nitrate reductase enzyme, and this enzyme is involved in reduction of nitrate during nitrogen metabolism. Nitrates are reduced to form the protein. So, that is why iron is involved in nitrogen metabolism. This iron is also required for nitrogenase enzyme, and in this enzyme it is a part of iron plus molybdenum. So, molybdenum is also required. So, iron and molybdenum are part of this nitrogenase enzyme, and this nitrogenase enzyme is important for biological nitrogen fixation in legume crops. So, that is why this iron play a very important role in nitrogen metabolism and biological nitrogen fixation. Another important role of this iron is production of SOD, superoxide dismutase, and this is important for scavenging free oxygen radical. So, SOD production is enhanced under the supply of iron. And another important role is it is a part of lag hemoglobin, and this lag hemoglobin is a carrier of oxygen, and it is required for biological nitrogen fixations. In legume crops, in bacteria, rhizome bacteria, this lag hemoglobin is required for their functioning. So, that is why iron is very important for chlorophyll formation, nitrogen synthesis, biological nitrogen fixation, SOD production. Another is copper, and this copper helps in utilization of iron in chlorophyll formation. Utilization of iron in chlorophyll. So, chlorophyll is enhanced under the supply of iron, because iron activate enzymes, act as a activator. So, chlorophyll formation is there, and this copper help in utilization of iron. So, that is why the copper deficiency also results chlorosis. If there is a copper deficiency, then iron is not utilized properly for chlorophyll formation. Poor formation of chlorophyll, it means loss of chlorophyll, it means chlorosis, it means there is yellowing. So, this is the reason that iron deficiency, copper deficiency, nitrogen deficiency, magnesium deficiency, there is chlorosis. Another important role of copper is in electron transfer through the plastocyanin protein. This is protein, copper containing protein, cyanin protein, it is copper containing protein. So, by this protein, copper containing protein, electrons are transferred. So, this is very important role of copper. Then copper is also involved in production of SOD, superoxide dismutase, and copper involved in pollen growth, fertilization, and seed development. So this micronutrient is very important. So due to copper deficiency, there is poor fertilization and poor seed development. So these are the very important role of copper. And copper is also involved in vitamin A synthesis. So vitamin A synthesis is promoted under the proper supply of copper. And this copper also provide flavor and color. Flavor and color in vegetables and flowers. So this copper is responsible for flavor and color in flowers and vegetables. So these are the important role of copper. Next is manganese, and this manganese is important, or we can say it is essential for splitting of water during photosynthesis, and this reaction is known as Hill reaction. So this is manganese, and this is photolysis of water, or we can say it is photosynthetic oxygen evolution. So water is splitted into oxygen and then hydrogen ion. So this process take place in the presence of manganese as well as chlorine. So both the nutrients are required in this reaction. So it is photosynthetic oxygen evolution, and reaction is known as Hill reaction after the name of scientist Hill, who discovered this reaction. Then this manganese is also required for production of SOD, superoxide dismutase, and manganese also substitute for magnesium in many phosphorylating reaction and group transfer reaction. So this is important three role: photosynthetic oxygen evolution, production of superoxide dismutase, and substitution for magnesium in phosphorylating reaction. Then zinc. This zinc play very important role in binding of amino acid, and some amino acids are there and these are bound by zinc. So zinc is responsible for binding or making a chain of amino acids, and suppose this is lysine, this is tryptophan, suppose this is serine, then zinc bind in this manner. Methionine, suppose it is tryptophan, like that. So zinc bind the amino acid, and this structure is known as zinc finger. It is zinc finger. So this zinc finger is a structure where zinc bind the amino acids. So binding of amino acid is very important for protein synthesis. Another important role of this zinc is in the ribosome structure. So it is a structural component of ribosome, and ribosomes are responsible for protein synthesis. So this is very important function in formation of ribosomes, and ribosomes are said to be factories of protein. So protein formation take place through ribosomes. So here zinc play a very important role in amino acid binding and ribosome structure. Then this zinc also activate or required for many enzymes like alcohol dehydrogenase. Many enzymes are activated by this zinc, and zinc is also involved in production of SOD, superoxide dismutase. If we look at the function of Fe, Cu, Mn, Zn, all these are involved in production of this SOD, superoxide dismutase. Another important role of zinc is in synthesis of tryptophan, and this tryptophan is precursor of hormone auxin. and this is growth promoting hormone, and this auxin is responsible for increasing plant height. So that's why zinc is required for production of this hormone auxin. If there is a zinc deficiency, then tryptophan production will be less, then auxin production will be poor and plant remain short. So this is the reason that plant stunting occur under zinc deficiency. So internode length remains short. So this is the reason that zinc deficiency lead to shorter internode and shorter plant height. So this is very important role of zinc. The next is boron, and this boron is important for cell wall structure. Cell wall structure, and it make the complexes with the cell wall pectins. So cell wall and pectins are present in cell wall, and it make the complex and give the stability to cell wall. So it is involved in cell wall synthesis also. So rigidity of cell wall is due to this boron. And another important nutrient for this cell wall rigidity or stability is calcium. So this cell wall synthesis or structure is maintained by the supply of boron. So whenever there is a deficiency of boron, deficiency of calcium, there is disintegration of cell wall and hooking of new leaves. So that's why deficiency of calcium and boron are same, due to both are involved in cell wall structure. Another important role of this boron in translocation of sugar, and this translocation occur because there are borate sugar complex. So boron make complex with sugar, and these complexes are responsible for translocation of sugar to other plant parts. So translocation is another important part. Potassium is also involved in translocation of sugar, but the role of potassium is different as that of boron. In case of boron, there is a formation of complex, but in case of potassium, potassium activates the enzyme, maintain the pH, that's why, and help in ATP formation. So the role of, or we can say the function is same, but the mode of action is different in potassium and boron. Then this boron is important for this cell wall synthesis. So this is very important function of boron, and this boron is required for pollen growth, pollen germination, pollen tube, and fertilization and seed setting. So if there is deficiency of boron, then there is no seed setting, no proper fertilization. So boron is involved in fertilization. So if boron deficiency is there, definitely fertilization will be poor and seed setting will be very less. So these are the important role of boron. If we look the role of boron, so important one is the cell wall, translocation, seed setting, and another important is lignification. So lignin formation is also take place in the presence of boron, or boron help in lignin formation. So these are some important function. The next is molybdenum. Molybdenum is a nitrate reductase enzyme. It is required for, and this nitrate reductase enzyme is involved in nitrogen metabolism, reduction of nitrate. So if there is deficiency of molybdenum, so there is no nitrate reduction and nitrogen deficiency results. So that's why the deficiency symptoms of molybdenum resemble to nitrogen deficiency. So it is very important role of molybdenum in enzymatic activity of nitrate reductase enzyme. Another important enzyme is nitrogenase, and these two enzymes are also affected by iron also. So iron is also required. Here iron plus molybdenum is a part. So important function of molybdenum in nitrogen metabolism. And this molybdenum is also involved in synthesis of vitamin C. So this is another important role of molybdenum in synthesis of vitamin C. Then chlorine. Chlorine is involved in Hill reaction, as we have discussed in case of manganese. So water is there, water splitting is there, so oxygen evolution, oxygen, then hydrogen ions. So here manganese and chlorine are required. So photosynthetic evolution or Hill reaction, splitting of water in photosynthesis. So chlorine is must for this one. The another important role is osmoregulation. Osmolyte, it acts as a osmolyte and helpful in regulation of osmotic pressure. So that's why it is involved in stomata opening and closing. Stomata opening and closing. Actually, potassium ion is involved in this opening and closing, and the counter ion for potassium, counter ion is chlorine. So, and chlorine and malate ion act as a counter ion for potassium. So, osmorelation or water relation maintained by this chlorine. Another important role of chlorine is in disease suppression. So many diseases are suppressed by chlorine application, particularly root rot disease, and this disease suppression may be due to the competition with the nitrate. Actually, when there is a more uptake of nitrate, then this high nitrate content lead to susceptibility of diseases because of succulency and free nitrogen. So fungus attack, insect attack, and it is observed that many diseases are directly related with the nitrate content. So this nitrate is monovalent, chlorine is also monovalent, so both compete for uptake. So this is maybe the one of the probable reasons for disease suppression. Another important is that chlorine make chlorinated organic compounds in plant, and these chlorinated organic compounds act as a fungicide. So fungal infection is come. So this may be also one of the reasons for disease suppression. One reason is nitrate, competition with the nitrate. Another may be this formation of chlorinated organic compound and act as a antibiotic. So this is important role of chlorine in formation of chlorinated organic compounds. So this is very important role of chlorine. So this is Hill reaction, photosynthetic evolution is the major, but this chlorine interfere with the starch synthesis. So it is the problem that if chlorine is high, then starch formation is reduced. So that's why in a starchy crop like potato and rice, it should be avoided. And this chlorine also reduces this first effect, adverse effect. Another is it reduces the keeping quality of potato. So if potato crop is fertilized with the chlorine, then this type of potato which are fertilized with high amount of chlorine cannot be stored for longer period. Another is that it reduces the quality of tobacco leaves. Burning quality, this quality, burning quality, and leaves become thick. Leaves become thick due to this chlorine, and brittle, can be break easily and do not burn uniformly. So this is the problem of chlorine. And this non-uniformity of burning is due to interfere with the carbohydrate metabolism. So, this chlorine interfere with carbohydrate metabolism in tobacco. So, these are the some effect of chlorine. So, these are the adverse effect we can say, or ill effects, and these are the functions. So, that is why application of this chlorine should be avoided in starchy crop and potato and tobacco. The last one is nickel, and this nickel is considered as the latest essential nutrient. It is at 17th number, it is the latest included essential nutrient because it is part of urease enzyme. So, it is a structural constituent of nickel. So, without nickel there is no formation of urease, and this urease enzyme is responsible for urea hydrolysis. So, urea hydrolysis take place in the presence of urease enzyme, and urea is naturally produced in plant. It is plant, and in leaves this urea is produced. It is not like that the urea is applied as a fertilizer from outside. It is essential also for urea fertilizer hydrolysis, but naturally urea is present inside the leaf. There is many biosynthetic pathway where urea formation take place. For example, ornithine cycle of urea biosynthesis, where urea formation take place, and this urea concentration is high, then it become toxic to this leaves. So, that is why hydrolysis of urea is must, and this urea hydrolysis inside the plant take place with the help of this urease enzyme, and this enzyme is produced in presence of nickel. That is why nickel is considered essential for plants. So, that is why this nickel is involved in nitrogen metabolism through urea hydrolysis. And this urea formation is natural in the plant. There are many pathways, as I told earlier, that ornithine cycle is very important. And this nickel is also involved in seed development and germination of seed and viability of seeds. So, seed point of view, seed germination, seed viability point of view, nickel is very important. So, this was about the major function, important function of essential nutrients Fe, Cu, Mn, Zn. Then we discuss about boron, chlorine, molybdenum and nickel. Thank you very much.